The rhythmic clattering of the subway train echoed through the crowded car, vibrating against the steel walls like a heart beating in a chaotic city. It was rush hour in Washington, D.C., and the air was thick with the mingled scents of coffee, cologne, and the faint odor of sweat. Commuters were packed together like sardines, clutching onto metal poles and each other, trying to find comfort in the discomfort of daily life. Among them was Mina, a 14-year-old girl with a backpack that seemed too big for her slight frame. She stood at the door, surveying the chaos with eyes that belied her youth. Her heart raced, not from the crowd, but from the weight of the day ahead. Another day of school, another day of navigating adolescence. As the train lurched to a stop, she noticed an empty seat across from a middle-aged woman, Carol, who had her purse perched like a crown on the seat beside her. Mina approached, the subway's screeching wheels fading behind her. "Excuse me, can you move your purse?" "I'd like to sit," she said, her voice clear but steady. Carol, a woman with a perfectly coiffed bob and a tailored suit, looked up from her phone, annoyance flashing across her face. "No, I'm using it," she replied, a hint of defensiveness in her tone. For a moment, the car was still, the tension palpable. Mina stood her ground, her chin slightly raised, the innocence of her youth clashing with the steely resolve of her stance. The passengers around them shifted uneasily, some pretending to look away, while others quietly began to pull out their phones, sensing that something was brewing. Mina took a breath, steadying herself. "It's just a purse. I can't sit if you don't move it," she insisted, her calm demeanor contrasting with the rising tension. The standoff continued, and soon, a bystander captured the moment on video, the small screen illuminating the scene with a light that would soon shine far beyond the subway car. The train jolted forward, but the confrontation only intensified, drawing the attention of more commuters. With a huff, Carol finally shifted her purse to her lap, mumbling something inaudible. Mina, sensing victory, slipped into the seat, the relief washing over her. The bystander, still recording, saw an opportunity to showcase the moment of defiance of a young girl standing up for herself. For Mina, it was a moment of unexpected fame. She became a symbol of resilience, the young girl who refused to be overlooked. Interviews followed, each one amplifying her voice as she spoke about respect and entitlement, about the small battles that often go unnoticed in the chaos of everyday life. People from all walks of life began sharing their own experiences with bias, discrimination, and moments of courage that resonated with Mina's story. Meanwhile, Carol faced an avalanche of backlash. The backlash was swift and brutal. Her employer, a prominent consulting firm, received countless emails and calls demanding accountability. It was not long before the firm announced her suspension, pending an internal review. Carol felt her carefully curated life unraveling with each notification. The comments on social media were merciless, branding her as entitled, selfish, and out of touch. As the days passed, the weight of her actions bore down on her, heavy like the purse that had sparked the entire debacle. The incessant chatter on social media, the articles dissecting her character, and the sneers she encountered in public were all reminders of her failure that day. She found herself reflecting deeply, wrestling with the reality that a simple act of stubbornness had spiraled into a societal conversation. Mina, on the other hand, reveled in the newfound attention. She was invited to speak at schools, youth conferences, and even local community events, where her words resonated with audiences seeking inspiration. She articulated her feelings with a maturity that belied her age, emphasizing kindness, understanding, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Yet, amid the accolades, Mina felt a quiet unease. She had become a figurehead in a movement that seemed to overshadow the nuanced human interactions she had once taken for granted. She began to wonder if she had unintentionally reduced a complicated person to a one-dimensional caricature. The turning point came weeks later when a local newspaper ran a piece featuring both Mina and Carol. The headline read, "Lessons in Respect, a Journey from Conflict to Understanding," The article explored the impact of the viral video, highlighting both women's experiences and the broader conversation surrounding societal respect. In the article, Carol, facing the camera with a somber expression, admitted her faults. "I didn't realize how my actions could affect someone else. I let my ego get in the way. I see that now," she said, her voice steady but tinged with regret. Mina, quoted alongside her, spoke with a kindness that surprised many. "I think we all make mistakes. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to learn from each other." In an unexpected twist, the article set the stage for a potential meeting. Carol reached out to Mina through a mutual contact, requesting a chance to speak with her face-to-face. Mina, hesitant yet curious, agreed. They met at a small cafe in downtown D.C., a neutral ground filled with the comforting aroma of coffee and baked goods. Mina arrived first, her heart racing as she replayed the events that had catapulted her into the public eye. Carol walked in shortly after, her face a canvas of anxiety and hope. "Hi, Mina," she said, offering a tentative smile. "Hi," Mina replied, taking in the woman who had once seemed so distant. They settled into a booth, the noise of the cafe swirling around them like a cocoon. Carol began to explain her perspective, the pressures of work, the long hours, and how she had lost sight of what really mattered. Mina listened, her youthful heart open, even as the shadows of anger danced in the corners of her mind. "I'm sorry for what I did," Carol said, her voice trembling like a fragile leaf caught in a tempest. Her eyes, glistening with unshed tears, bore the weight of regret that hung heavily in the air between them. "I've learned so much since that fateful day when everything spiraled out of control. The shadows of my past decisions haunt me, relentless reminders of the pain I caused. I can't undo the hurt, the betrayal, the shattered trust, but I stand before you, desperate for a chance to make amends. I want to do better, to be better. I want to understand what it feels like to walk a mile in your shoes, to feel the ache of my choices gnawing at my conscience. Please, let me grasp the depth of your hurt, so I can truly grasp the magnitude of my mistakes." The sincerity in her voice was a fragile lifeline, reaching out into the chasm that had formed between them, pleading for reconciliation. Mina felt a twinge of compassion. "Thank you for saying that," she replied. "I think it's important to remember that we all have our own struggles, but we have to respect each other no matter what." As they talked, a connection formed, two women from different worlds finding common ground. They shared stories of their lives, their hopes and fears, weaving a narrative that transcended the incident that had brought them together. In the days that unfurled after their transformative meeting, a fire ignited within Carol, propelling her toward a journey of profound change. With determination etched on her face, she plunged into the heart of community outreach programs that championed social justice, her spirit resolute and unyielding. Each day, she immersed herself in the realities of those who had been marginalized, wrestling with the uncomfortable truths of privilege and bias. She pored over literature, attended fervent discussions, and engaged with activists who spoke with passionate urgency, yearning to educate not only herself but also those around her. Meanwhile, Mina became a tireless beacon of hope and strength for her peers. With her voice resonating like a clarion call, she traversed the corridors of schools, captivating her audience with stories that stitched together empathy and understanding. Her words, infused with the weight of lived experiences, painted vivid pictures of the struggles faced by many. Mina's fervor was infectious. Students who once felt voiceless began to rise, emboldened to share their own stories, their own truths. Together, they wove a tapestry of solidarity, each thread a testament to the power of connection and compassion. As Carol and Mina forged ahead, they ignited a movement that rippled through their community, challenging the status quo and daring to dream of a world where justice and understanding reigned supreme. Together, they organized a community event titled The Weight of a Purse, where people could come together to discuss their experiences, fostering a dialogue about respect and accountability. The event was a resounding success, drawing in people from various backgrounds, all eager to share their stories. As the sun set on that day, Mina and Carol stood side by side, watching the crowd engage in heartfelt conversations. They realized that their initial conflict had sparked something much larger than either of them had anticipated, a movement towards understanding and respect. In that moment, they understood the power of small acts of defiance and how they could reverberate through communities. They learned that even in the most difficult moments, there is an opportunity for growth, reflection, and change. The subway incident faded into memory, but its lessons lingered on in the minds of those who had witnessed it. What had begun as a fleeting moment of chaos became a turning point for Mina and Carol, igniting within them a profound desire for personal and communal growth. The confrontation over a misplaced purse had initially seemed trivial, but it soon blossomed into a powerful narrative about empathy, understanding, and the importance of human connection. Mina, who had been grappling with her own insecurities and doubts, found strength in the unexpected support of Carol. The two women formed a bond that transcended their differences as they shared their experiences, fears, and hopes. They began to recognize the myriad challenges that individuals face daily, often hidden beneath the surface of everyday interactions. Their discussions deepened, exploring themes of vulnerability, resilience, and the shared human experience that connects them all. With newfound purpose, Mina and Carol transformed the weight of that purse, which had represented a moment of conflict, into a catalyst for societal reflection. They launched community workshops, inviting people from all walks of life to engage in open dialogues about compassion, respect, and understanding. They shared their story widely, emphasizing that even the smallest incidents could provoke significant change if approached with the right mindset. Their efforts rippled through the community, prompting individuals to reflect on their own interactions. It became clear that compassion often starts with a single conversation, a willingness to listen, and an openness to understand others' perspectives. The subway incident, once a mere blip in their lives, became a cornerstone for many, inspiring them to address conflicts with empathy and to seek out connections in a world that can often feel disconnected. As word of their initiative spread, more people began to join in, eager to learn and to contribute. The subway incident, with all its chaos, had led to a movement, one that highlighted the importance of community, encouraged dialogue across divides, and reminded everyone that every person has a story worth hearing. Mina and Carol, through their courageous vulnerability, became beacons of hope, illustrating that even in the wake of conflict, there exists the potential for healing and transformation.